Welcome to Collegial Conversations with Diana Clark, the professional webinar series that offers clinical and personal perspectives on issues that are common, but often not talked about. Here is today's Collegial Conversation.
Today, joining Diana is Gail Cappadona. After almost 30 years of running Kappa's Kennel, a highly respected dog boarding kennel, Gail sold her business and made a professional decision to pursue her passion, which is preparing puppies and adult dogs to lead successful lives as human companions. Today, Gail and Diana are going to discuss the benefits that pets have on our mental health.
Welcome, Susan.
Yeah.
That's what your name says. I know. I was making a joke. So for our watchers, it says Susan, but we're really talking to Gail today. Just know that. So anyway, I want to start with really welcoming you to talk about a subject that not only is of curiosity to me, but one I am completely ignorant about. I know people have pets. I know pets are good for people. I know particularly people find that with canine pets. So why would that be?
I think basically because it gives them a way to get up every morning and get outside and take care of something, which I think is very important for most people. You know, to provide something from somebody else, whether it's human, companion, or a dog, a cat, you know. Everybody has their different things, you know. Not everybody can have a dog. I have some friends that have, little birds.
I have birds. I do have. I'm waiting for them to chirp outside. We rescued a family of birds. They want nothing to do with us, though. We are just the big things that feed them. They're their own family. And I imagine that I'm the giant who provides their food on a day-to-day basis. But so talk to me about a more reciprocal relationship with a pet. What does a pet provide different from just structure of living?
So they can provide you some sort of calming effect. They can also get you motivated, which is important. You know, some people that, without that dog, the motivation isn't there to go out and take the walk. And, you get out there, take a walk, and you never know what's going to happen. Maybe you meet somebody and say hello, just a walk in the woods or just a walk down a pleasant street, the quiet. It is helpful for a lot of people, especially when today's day and age is computers. It does give you a way to get away from it and settle your head a little. And it's very important for the animal to have that interaction. The more involved you get with the animal, the more the animal can be involved with you. Not every animal can be a special service dog, but every animal can give you a relationship.
So let's talk about different breeds for different kinds of. Imagine, I'm going to give you a case study. I've got a highly anxious woman who's in her 60s and is looking to purchase whatever, a dog, and understands her limitations physically, but will be a good owner. What kinds of questions would you have for that woman?
Number one, what are your physical limitations? Because that's very important to know what kind of dog you can have, how you'll be able to exercise a dog. They don't only need physical, exercise. They also need mental exercise. So you can stimulate a dog physically, but you can also do it mentally and still make them tired. So it's just more or less your setup, what you need the dog to help you with, because that's important. Somebody who needs the dog to help them stand up can't be, a little tiny poodle. So, and then some of the bigger dogs are calm. But if you don't have an area where you can let the dog out to exercise, if you're not able to give them that kind of exercise, that's important. There's a lot that the person has to bring, answering questions about what they can do daily. What can this dog bring to them that they don't have in their life right now? And that's something that, you don't want something that's going to give you more headache than joy.
Well, let's talk about what would a headache dog look like for somebody.
A lot of times people will go out and they'll say, I'm going to get a rescue dog. to help me or become my service dog or emotional support dog.
That's what yeah.
So these dogs, it can work, but it can be a complete nightmare because some of these dogs have their own emotional problems. And sometimes it works, but not always. It's for me, the most important thing is to be able to match the person with the right animal.
Okay, so let's use me as an example. I am a 60-plus-year-old woman. I'm fairly active. I can take a dog for a walk and would do so. But the idea of a needy being staring at me, waiting for me all day long to give them attention, makes the idea of that untenable for me. So, are there pets that you would suggest beyond snakes that might be good for somebody who doesn't have emotional energy to pour into a pet?
So you could find any breed of dog that can do what you need. It could just be at a different age level.
Yeah. Tell me about that. Yeah.
So you could rescue a dog, right? That is impartial to you for life because, well, but if your dog, you get a rescue dog. So it was in a hurricane and they rescued the dog. This dog could have been really with somebody who loved them more than life itself. And then they got separated. Nobody knows. And now they're ending up someplace, not that the dog will be okay with you, but it may not ever have that same bond.
Won't look at you. We have dogs that, for many dogs, we are one of those houses that we're willing to take dogs on a temporary basis. We just don't have them. But a few of those dogs that just hung on my every word made me really nervous. And I don't know if I'm unique to that or not.
No, because a lot of people, like you said, don't have that ability or want that. That's a lot of work.
Mhm.
That's a long work. Because now you're the dog's emotional support.
Right?
Yeah. Right. So this is what I'm saying. You got to get the right dog. You can't necessarily be a dog who needs the support. But if you get the right dog, the dog will be there to help you in your journey, whatever it may be, whether it's, being a constant companion and being able to help you get through things that you couldn't do before. You need this dog to be able to go out to eat. You need him to just be able to get you to the point where you can get back on a plane. You can get back into society, and if things go right, you just turn around and look at your dog and you and your dog, and the rest of the world is outside of that.
That's right. One of the things I love about the idea of dogs is that when you pet a dog, when you're in relationship with the dog, it actually elevates your oxytocin, which reduces the stress hormones. It actually does change us neurochemically.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Right. But not everybody, not even all dogs enjoy to be petted.
Really?
Oh, definitely. And that's why I'm saying picking the right dog. I mean, some dogs, it makes them nervous when you do.
So are there certain breeds that are calmer than other breeds that, let's say we had a high-strung potential owner? What kind of dog would you recommend for that person with a temperament that's high-strung?
Got to meet the person. So there are some people in the military. Now, those people pretty much are now understand we get up every morning. It's very regimented in how they go about their day. And so a dog would need to be able to fit into that. It's very important for these, coming home, the veterans coming home, that they have a dog that listens. It can't be about everybody else. It's got to be about them. It has to, some way or another, they have to connect on a basis. And whatever that basis is going to be meant to take them through their issues. The PTSD comes in so many different ways that it takes a while for the dog to learn that they're having trouble. I'm not saying that some dogs aren't born with the innate. There are some borns, they just know dogs. And I believe in my experience, is the younger the dog, the easier it is for them to connect and bond and find out what you need. But honestly, I've trained dogs a long time. My family's not really a dog family. My mother was looking for a dog. She was older. She wanted to be able to walk with the dog. I had a dog that I had trained for years, like 10 years. He was a very well-trained dog, and he would walk with her. And I gave her the dog, but she didn't know anything about a dog. Where do you start? My mother's very disciplined, And I said, Mom, yelling at the dog doesn't make it any different. I said, he does
True for kids too. Frankly, yeah.
They don't really understand English except for the words that we're, communicating to them. And then depending on the dog, what the realm of the, how big, how long, how much they understand, But being in my mother's hands, even for a short period of time, he stopped listening to what he knew. And he started to become the dog that my mother needed. Sitting with her on the chair, walking with her. She walked his little knees right off, that kind of stuff. But he wasn't great when other people came in there. And he used to be a really good people dog. But my mother liked to have him with her. And then the dog became protective of my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that dogs actually change sort of personality depending upon what is called for them to be.
It can. It depends on the dog. Remember, not all dogs are equipped, just like not all humans are equipped with everything they need mentally. There are a lot of dogs that were just bred. They bred them for just for the purpose of, demand, and for no other better reason. During the pandemic, everybody wanted a dog, but nobody wanted to do anything with their dog. So
What kind of dogs were popular that you saw in the pandemic? What were people? Big dogs, little dogs, or all kinds?
the doodles,
The doodles.
the doodles,
Because they don't shed, right?
right? But there's, the realm of doodle now is just incredible. Incredible. I mean, there's groomers that won't even touch him because the people didn't do the right thing. It's a lot of work to own a dog that has to be groomed every day. Every day. You don't let it out and come back in if it got wet and didn't groom because then it's going to be an hour. It's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. I mean, I'm a dog trainer. I have German Shepherds. They're a lot of work to groom. And you have to do it. They need their nails done. They need their ears cleaned.
So what dogs are less work?
They're not. Dogs are work. You need to find a good groomer. You need to find really a good place for you to go walk and do these things, And I get it to form into your life. When I first get a dog and somebody says to me, it's got to be a service dog. It has to go everywhere. Trains, buses, restaurants, hotels. As a puppy, I don't even allow it to go and say hello to a person. Because if it does, then it thinks that it sees people and it can go to them. Especially Labrador Retrievers are supposed to be Joe-friendly dogs, right? Not all of them are anymore.
Really? I grew up with one. Sweetest dog ever.
Right? That's the way they were supposed to be. Now you walk by, they're barking at you. Really? So much, but remember,
Thing.
well, the dogs that were bred for demand, nobody's checking them. I mean, now we're so lucky because we have DNA testing, and you could weed out a lot of what's going wrong if you just used it. But comes down to the money.
So if the DNA was too narrowly aligned, you don't have too broad enough of a DNA pool, right?
But at this point, you want to bring it back to where they had it, where it was, generations back, but not too far, because right now they're breeding so many dogs, the genes are washed out. So now you're not even getting anything that, is supposed to go down that path. They're not looking for, is this dog a solid dog structurally, mentally, physically, all those things. They're just breeding a dog.
So do you help people, source puppies, train puppies? And we're talking about training puppies. In my field, really who we trained our families. Who are you really training, the puppy or the people?
It depends on what the people want. So there's a lot of people like you. You would say to me, Gail, I want this dog and I want to be able to, go about my day and him fit into our lives. So I immediately know you can't have a puppy because you've expressed that you don't want the little sucker looking at you and thinking you're the best thing since bacon.
I don't.
Right. I get that. A lot of people don't.
Right.
But there are breeds of dogs that don't really, don't need that. There are Rottweilers. They don't need you. They like you, but they don't necessarily need you. It's a big dog. And you still have to be able to control those things, though. Even though it's big and passive, you know what I mean? It can grow into a guard dog and do all those things if, it's not the right temperament and everything else. I don't care what breed of dog it is. It varies so much within even a litter. I bred police dogs for a long time. If I was lucky, I could get 2, maybe 3 out of a litter. That's it. The rest of them were going to companions. Just good, solid dogs, we're hoping, with good structure.
Right. So my family, my parents bought I want to watch your face as I say this, an Australian Shepherd when my dad was 85.
Oh.
My stepmother, who weighs about 10 pounds, was in her 70s. And when I walked this dog,
But when did they have land?
yes,
Important.
yes,
So now you teach the dog how to exercise without being on the leash.
yes.
The leash is the one thing that will mess up almost any dog. If I gotta really look at a dog, I don't want to see the dog on a leash. I just want to see the dog. You put a leash on a dog, I mean, it's immediately taken away the dog's what he's gonna be. Now there's things attached to the leash. There's things attached to the collar. I just like free. I want to see what you're gonna do and be who you are. And then see, and hopefully not everybody can be molded into what you want. I mean, I had a German Shepherd. I got him when he was 8 weeks old. He was from my lines, and I kept him. I trained with him. I loved the little guy. We got along. I hurt my back, and he had to go to my kennel manager for a couple of weeks. He came back to me, but we were never the same. And for him, he wasn't a bad dog. He loved me and stuff like that. It just never clicked. And I had a lot of people want to buy the dog, and I wait. I want the right dog to go to the right person as much as I want the right person to get the dog. It's important to make the match. And just through being a person, you hear people talk and people send me people and things like that. And it came around. He was a veteran, Marine, a lot of tours. And he got a rescue dog that didn't work. But
So how did you help him? How did you help him?
so this dog didn't work. So I just said, come by my house. Let me meet you, talk to you, hang out. And I let my dog out. And they loved each other. Right then. And it was a match made in heaven. And I can't tell you, he probably had at least 10 or 15 people that would have bought the dog. You know what I mean? But at that point, you could see this was the right dog. And he had a lot more, like he had the rescue dog now. So that dog was living in his house. And I think he said his wife had a Chihuahua in the house. And then they had, like Great Pyrenees out there. You want to make sure it's going to work, So he would come every day and work the dog. Unfortunately, and I broke my ankle in the middle of it. And so I didn't get to give him as much guidance as I would have liked. But he and the dog are perfectly fine. They got their certification. And he's so happy and so sweet.
Who's your next project?
Hasn't decided yet.
You haven't decided. They haven't picked you yet?
Sometimes that's the way it works. And sometimes you can, I don't know, you walk by a dog and you just get that feel. And for me, I love puppies. For me, in my experience, I can pretty much mold a puppy. If I have the right dog, I can get it to be what you want. I have a guy who I did the service dog for. He wants me to do another dog. It's a lot of work to do these dogs, though. They have to be with you 24 hours a day. You never get to be without the dog. Bathrooms, you go to church with the dog, you go to doctors with the dog, everything. go to hospitals. The dog is your life. That's how this, they are. Once they're attached like that, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a job.
Exactly.
Job. So what did I not ask you today?
I guess the hardest part of all of it, like you did ask, is that the match. If we could all go out and get a rescue dog and that would work, that'd be great. But it doesn't always. And a lot of these poor rescue dogs need somebody that knows what they've been through and what they need. So they almost need more help than the person's got to, you know what I mean? Some people need that, though. Some people need to be able to care for an animal like that. And it works out well. But you don't always get the match. Like that veteran, he got this dog to be a service dog and it didn't work. It's helpful to make sure that you understand you're not going to be a dog person necessarily. And I understand what kind of dog I love. Mm-hmm. And then everybody has a different, my mother has a totally different idea of what a dog is. Everybody wants something different. So until you sit down, talk to the person, like an Aussie is a lot of dog for an older person. But if you have land and the dog has something to do, even if it was just going out and chasing a ball or something like that, and it understood that its real job was to be there and make sure your parents were okay.
And actually, that is what is happening.
Right.
I was very skeptical early on, thinking a puppy that, is going to be big. And frankly, he's a lot bigger than he was anticipated to be. He was supposed to be a miniature Aussie. He got to be full size and he's very strong. So,
and it's not about strength. I mean, I have a 90-pound dog. I mean, I'm not fighting the dog. I mean, Shepherd, they can't wait for getting this. They like to fight. Border Collies, they herd with their eyes. Shepherds herd with their mouth. They're going to grab the big U and say, hey, I just told you to do something. Let's get it done.
Let's get it done. That's right. Good job. Beautiful. Well, I want to tell you what I learned today was that matching dogs and humans isn't a whole lot different than matching humans and humans. It's just a different species.
Correct. And they understand a little bit different language. I mean, if you go to a foreign country and you don't know the language, your life gets hard. When you pick up a puppy and you think it knows what sit, down, come, and all these things are, it has no idea. Its mother never spoke that word.
Right.
So now you first have to learn how to communicate with something that has no idea what the English language is. And if people just thought about it, they wouldn't make it so hard. But they immediately think that puppy comes with the little switch and just flip it and off you go.
Right. And be cute. And have perfect.
Even if they're bad, but being cute, I like it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But that's why I get bad dogs now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't do that.
Yeah. It's true.
Because everybody thinks it's funny until it's Thanksgiving and the family's there. And the dog just did what was been funny for the last 3 months.
And trained to do.
Correct.
Trained to do.
Rewarded for the behavior. That's all you have to do is reward it.
That's right. Same with kids. You laugh at it, you giggle at it, you're going to get a repeat of it.
Right. It's not that easy sometimes.
Yeah.
But there are dogs out there who will perform all day long for that.
I'll bet.
You're watching show dog. They pick show dogs when you start clapping. You'll see the dog go, that's for me. I know it.
Right.
That's how they pick those dogs in Westminster. They're not scared of the clapping. They love it. They bring them right up.
Yeah. Hams.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of them.
Total. Well, thank you, Gail. This has been delightful for me. I got to learn a ton today. I wish you unbelievable success at your matching process and the way you are going about this, because it's so thoughtful and respectful, not just to the people who are adopting, but to the pets. And
yeah.
I really do appreciate that.
I appreciate you having me on and listening to what I had to say.
Thank you for joining this webinar. Tune in to more webinars and sign up for our newsletter at o'connorpg.com.